All right, we should be live at this point. Hello, everyone. How are you doing? I'm going to give it just a second to see if it actually starts up. And yeah, there we go. I see me over there, and there we go. I can hear me. So, hey, look at that. We are all good. Hole in one. So yes, everyone, I do apologize. And first of all, hello and welcome to Happy Tuesday streams, our SeaQuest stream. Hopefully you guys are doing well. I am a little late today. My wife is having a women's Bible study with our church, so I put the kids to bed myself, and we just barely got everyone in bed. The boys aren't asleep yet, but at least they're in bed. So I got their cameras up over here on the side. If I might have to walk off at some point if Amy's not back yet. But don't worry, I will leave you in the more than capable hands of John DiMarco. How are you doing today, John?
Doing fine, thanks. Welcome, everyone.
So, hey to the people in chat. John DiMarco was here with his hint, which is a fairly good hint today. Dolphins and trees. Maybe some swampy type trees.
Perhaps.
And then there's this Life with Matthew Yahoo who's claiming he's going to be late. I don't know what to do with that guy. Thomas Potts claiming the pub is late like always. False. Pub isn't always late, just usually. Thank you. Professor Bernie Specs, late with Matthew. It is true. Yesterday was Wednesday. Today is Tuesday. Yeah, apparently, if you believe, which I don't know why you believe anything I put out there, but if you believe,
it's a good point.
Yeah, if for some reason you do believe the little song intro that, how did I butcher his name that one time? Aberdeen? Yeah, Aberdeen made for me. Then yes, every Wednesday night at 9:45, the virtual pub gets it going. But no, it's Monday night now, and I'm actually gonna have to push it back to 9:30. So the past 2 weeks, I've mistakenly listed it as starting at 9:30. I'm actually gonna have to start at 9:30 because my kids are staying up too late. So we're just gonna have to adjust a little bit. Let's see. Thomas Bot says stream starts in mid-sentence. Excellent. That's
Figures.
the way. You know, I hit start streaming over here. I give it like 5 seconds. Then I start talking and it still goes. Usually I have a countdown, but since I was late, I said, screw it. We're just going, man. We're going to do this.
And yes, Thomas, it did sound like you just said today is Monday.
I might have said that. You never know what happens between the brainy thinkies up here and the mouthy talkies down here. Things just, they go weird. I wish I could blame it on being timey-wimey, but I can't. Arvixander, how are you doing tonight? Jilon True, all cells are final, as I would say. I feel like that would be the Ferengi catchphrase. You know, live long and prosper. Live long and prosper would be Vulcans. Jilon True, Romulans. We come in peace, humans. And today's a good day to die, Klingons. And the Ferengis, all cells are final. Multi-Gunman, how are you doing? I hope that it is going well with y'all and that you're not nearly being half as tongue-twisted tied up as I am.
I don't think that's possible.
Yeah, I certainly hope not. I really don't. I'm gonna be fiddling with this the whole stream, so I've been trying to reverse engineer this guy right here and figure out how it all goes. And so I got on my desk, man. It is just there's some connections they're doing. There's one chip on here, one little IC, and for the life of me, I can't figure out what it is. It has a name, but there's no information on it, and it's driving me nuts. So I'm gonna be staring wistfully at this the whole stream, I bet. Oh, because I'm not just a nerd. I'm an uber nerd.
Indeed.
Well, guys, I hope that you are ready for some fun tonight. We are watching SeaQuest Season 2, Episode 22, which is the last episode of the season, but not the last episode of the season we're going to be watching. Under the sage advice of John, we are switching things around, because apparently there was some production shenanigans where whatever happens next week.
Yeah, I did some digging on why did they do that. As far as I can tell, the network planned to air both of the last 2 episodes on the same day. But the second to last one got preempted, I believe, by football, and so they showed that later.
Oh.
So from then on, whenever it's listed on Peacock or IMDb or whatever, they always list those last two episodes switched because technically that's the order they aired, even though it was clearly wrong.
Huh. Weird. TV stuff is weird.
I had a Matthew moment. What's that, Thomas?
Did he?
That's what he said.
I don't know. I'd be reluctant to describe anyone as having a Matthew moment. I mean, Joe Biden gets close to having Matthew moments, but even then, I think I got him beat every once in a while.
Switching the episodes? Well, I mean, I wasn't the one who switched them. That was the network. I'm just explaining why.
Yeah, the network had a Matthew moment. Okay, so guys, here's the way it's going to work as we get into it. I am going to forget to, and then remember right now, to drop the link to the StreamYard, or not StreamYard, the Sci-Fi, the streaming channel, the screening room. That's the word I'm looking for. Takes me a while, but I get there. I'm going to drop to a link to the screening room, which I've done right now, and I'm going to pin that to the top of the chat. If you want to watch this live with us, you can come to the screening room, and this will sync all of our watch times together so that hopefully you are watching this at approximately the same time John and I are talking about it. If you are in the future, this is not going to be available for you. This is only available while we are streaming it right now live. So in the future, you're going to need to either buy the DVDs. They're fairly cheap on Amazon or eBay. Or you're going to need to set up a free Peacock TV account, and you can set up, and you can watch them for free over on peacocktv.com. If you don't want to do either one of those things, let's say you're on a cell phone and you can't pull up a separate tab, which makes no sense. I think cell phones are more than capable of doing that these days. But if you're on a cell phone, or maybe you have a computer with only one monitor, or maybe you just don't want to watch it, maybe you don't like me being so preachy and saying, hey, go do this. For y'all guys, we will have clips right down here, which every 3 to 5 seconds, it grabs a still image from the video and produces that image on the screen. That way you have some sort of reference for what we're talking about. And Ervik is talking about the poor random menace. What have those fine fellows gotten themselves into this time? Another fine mess you've gotten us into here. Thomas is saying, show us the episode. We will momentarily, Thomas Potts. Are you saying show it like on the stream, the whole episode? No. We'll not do that. NBC. NBC has been really, really cool about letting us do this. Like I said, in the past, exactly one time, they did a claim on it. Or not claim, but like a, hey, you've used too much of our stuff. And I said, look, I'm doing this only for, fair use. I forget what I exactly said, but I said, this is fair use. And within a couple days, they actually lifted it. With CBS, I grabbed, or I showed their trailers. I paused, I talked over it. I clearly used it just for talking about. I transformed it dramatically by not just like sitting there and watching it and showing the whole thing, which other people do, and CBS still put a content match on it. And I said, hey, fair use, and they let the time run out. They refused to give up and just let the time run out after a month, and then finally it expired because they knew it was fair use. CBS are just jerks, and I hate them. I hate the stuff they produce.
Wow.
Except Lower Decks. Lower Decks has been pretty good. I have enjoyed that. Eric is saying, I think we should stream the classic never-ending story. I don't know. Does anyone want to see me weep on screen? I mean, that...
And by the way, the point of clarification, as Jeff mentioned, the Random Menace is one person. It's not a group. But you probably thought they were talking about the Fandom Menace, which is something else.
Oh, I was thinking the Fandom Menace. Yeah, what's up with Yosef? The Random Menace.
I don't know what's up, but that's who they were talking about.
And Thomas is saying, I remember this episode has nudity. You are close to correct. Very close. So very close. So guys, I'm going to go ahead and get it going. Hopefully you are over in the screening room and going to watch this live with us. And if you're not, then you can still just enjoy the clips as we talk about it. But we are going to go ahead and kick this thing off, get the show running, light this candle, whatever metaphor you like, though not colorful metaphor, just regular metaphor. So I'll give us a 5 count, and I'm going to hit the play button so that anyone in the future, you can sync up your watch times, hopefully more or less at the right spot. Thomas is saying, really? I thought I made it up. Well,
hey, Matthew's got the wrong episode.
No, this episode comes very, very close to not just having, a brief nudity, but having a gaggle of nudity in it at one point.
A gaggle.
A gaggle. Yes. So you'll see. Everyone will see. So here we go, guys. I'm going to hit the play button in 5 seconds. So here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hit that play button, and we're going to get this going. So here we are at the UEO Department of Corrections, Verdome, the Atlantic Ocean, which I feel like we may have seen a couple times at this point. Do I actually have the right episode up?
You have the right what?
Do I have the right episode up? Because this looks exactly the way Dagger Redo started. Yep, I got the right one.
Yeah, I think it's the right one, yeah.
That is literally the exact way Dagger Redo started. Because remember, it started off with the view of the correction facility, comes into the facility itself, and you see, what's her name? Mariah, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
But this time around, we got a couple dudes inside their prison cell, and one of them has extremely labored breathing. His bunkmate is not having any of it, pulls back the bedsheet, and he finds another guy with gills, just like Piccolo, and it's just oozing some sort of substance out of it. So Piccolo is being sent off for examinations, and he's not really thrilled about it. He's like, come on, one guy from the program got a little backwash. I don't want to be doing this. And he really, for some reason, he doesn't like flying. He says, I don't mind too much a submarine. It can't sink because it's already sunk.
It's true.
Tom is saying this is the pilot episode. Wow, I really went back in time today. But they know Piccolo is not actually worried about flying. They're like, come on, you don't have any fears of flying. What is really going on here? And we find out the real issue here is Eddie, the guy who was leaking fluid over in the jail cell. And he really doesn't like this guy. This guy's Eddie Gaines and chains 60,000 feet in the air. What could be better than sharing a plane with this guy? But Ford's like, what's the story between you two? What do? Almost kill your, threaten your life, kick your dog? And Piccolo goes, no, it's worse than all that. He saved my life. Which, to me, sounds like not at all a bad thing.
You would think.
Piccolo shows off his amazing portable device, some sort of Game Boy system. Except it has a giant joystick instead of a, compact area. But the air marshal tells him to stow it away, so, Piccolo obeys, puts it away. And then curiously, the air marshal, he unlocks it, which they can't just use a key. They use a very fancy laser pointer, which just pops that right open.
Oh, yeah. It's much more secure.
Piccolo's grilling him. He's like, what's really going on here? No one else has had these problems. What's the deal? How did you get this? Or how did you have the gill problems? And Eddie goes, it was shampoo. You put it in the gills and it irritates the lining. And Eddie's pretty pissed off, which, oh, not Eddie, Tony Piccolo, he's pretty pissed off, which understandably so. He's turned his life around and he doesn't want to be on board with Eddie Gaines. And then the air marshal just totally hits the pilot on the back of the head, giving him a severe concussion. And Eddie gives the pilot some new directions. Says, I want you to go to this coordinates. And the pilot's saying, guys, no, this is going to take us right into the Confederate airspace. We're going to get shot down. But Eddie says, do it anyway. Doesn't even care. He said, it doesn't matter. It's just swampland. There's no way anyone's monitoring this. No one's going to care that we cut into the Confederate space.
Or will they?
Dun, dun, dun. So, Arvak, what's up with the Random Menace? You still around?
I think he was just referring to the fact that Yosef's in the future. You're talking about if you're in the future and you can't watch the episode with us.
Oh, it's true. I honestly miss. I used to do the gaming streams in the middle of the day, and I do it open lines. And Yosef would come hang out with us, and we'd talk about, gosh, what was it? I think it was Picard and Discovery, mainly Picard.
Yeah, I remember you doing streams in the afternoon when Picard Season 1 was coming out.
But now I haven't done that. I haven't seen Yosef in forever, because it's like the middle of his workday right now, or like early morning. I forget the exact time split.
Yeah, I think it's early morning for him right now.
The pilot tries to take out Eddie at this point with some sort of laser pin knife thing. But unfortunately, he gets immediately overpowered and stabs himself with his little glowy pin. Oh yeah, Thomas, Open Lines gaming stream. You remember them. Professor saying it's not the middle of his workday. Yosef was in the chat last night for a short time. I missed it.
Of course you did.
Amy was actually joking about how as soon as she got onto the stream last night, she couldn't pay attention to the chat at all. She's like, I tried, and like I immediately couldn't because I was paying too much attention to what everyone on the panel was saying. I'm like, see? It's a thing. Of course, Tony has created, or not Tony, Tony's innocence. Eddie has created all sorts of problems with his shenanigans here, his stunt, by causing the plane to crash in the middle of the Confederacy swamp. It's going to create extreme stress between the Confederacy and the UEO. The Bridger wants us to immediately set course for where they went down, but the secretary is saying, are you crazy? I don't think the best response here is to send the most powerful UEO sub into Confederate waters. Like, that's not going to de-escalate the situation. That's going to ramp it up. Hey, Super Blubber Post, how you doing today? But good news, everyone. Piccolo is not dead. He miraculously survived the plane crash despite him not being seated with a seatbelt, nor having his tray table in its fully upright position.
It's all right. Only unnamed characters are dead.
Like the guy who, I mean, at least he doesn't have a concussion to worry about now because he's dead.
It's true. Yeah.
I'm really not sure. I really don't know what the point of that little pen knife was that the other pilot had. Like, if you're having the cockpit storm, I don't feel like it's really useful to have a weapon that's like this big. I suppose it beats nothing, but I think a projectile might be more advantageous.
Well, a projectile in the cabin may not be the best idea either. But, I'm not a pilot.
And considering that 9/11 was like 3 days ago, this isn't the most well-timed episode about
Good work, Matthew.
someone hijacking a plane and causing it to crash. Yeah, maybe if I didn't miss so many episodes in so many weeks.
Yeah.
But unfortunately...
This would be like months ago if you hadn't missed anything.
Yeah. So Piccolo gives Eddie a well-deserved punch in the face. And Eddie's like, all right, I deserve that one, I guess. And Eddie wants to bunk down for the night, but Piccolo's saying, we are in the zone where they shoot first and ask questions later. Something that the pilot was trying to tell you when you hijacked the plane.
By the way, Thomas makes the point that he didn't have a problem reading the chat for 5 minutes when he was allowed on your pub that time when you suddenly ended it.
That's because Thomas is a better human being than I am.
Well, I can't argue with that.
Eddie hears something rustling in the leaves and says, do you hear that? Listen. And, all we can hear are, the calls of monkeys and cicadas, kind of sounds like to me.
Yeah.
Generic jungle sounds. The chitter of insects. Maybe a toucan calling in the distance. I don't know. Now, Professor, you are having a Matthew moment right there. He's claiming, if it's any consolation, I'm a better human being than he is, which is just clearly a Matthew moment.
Yes, Matthew was obviously the worst. We've all established this.
Do you not remember my dwarf story last night? I think I got a clear victory on the worst. Is victory the right word? Maybe not.
I don't know.
Thomas finds the phrase human to be insulting. I apologize for nothing. Again, proving how bad I am, how horrible I am.
Exactly.
Robert Rose Jr., how are you doing tonight? Salty Trekker and Lore just finished up, so he's come over.
Hello, Robert.
So we got some sort of predator type thing hunting our two heroes or anti-heroes or, couple of saps, whatever you want to call them. And they come across a village that just seems completely abandoned. It looks like they bugged out, Eddie says, but they didn't take anything with them. So they find this campfire and some sort of stew cooking over it with a rubber chicken hanging by it. I don't know. So it's not chicken, whatever it is. Piccolo says, I don't know what this is, but it's not chicken. Now, Eddie says, you haven't asked me what I did to end up back in the dome. And Piccolo goes, well, I'm not a complete idiot. I did hear about some guy who was trying to move GPS units and got caught, basically. And apparently he got stopped and something went wrong and an MP got killed. And Eddie says, well, it's not that easy to turn down Admiral something or other's son. So whoever was actually pulling the strings here was an admiral's son, and Eddie got roped in. And Eddie, he admits that he's kind of jealous of Piccolo. He wishes that he could have been on the SeaQuest under the tender care of Daddy Bridger, which, yeah.
I don't blame him.
I mean, or Piccolo got handed a real sweet deal there.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that the first thing Piccolo did when he got on the SeaQuest was try to escape.
It's true.
It was only Darwin's intervention that stopped him. In fact, if it hadn't been for Darwin, he probably would have escaped off the SeaQuest, eventually been caught and sent right back to prison. But thankfully, Darwin intervened.
I mean, it's no wonder everybody wants to go to SeaQuest.
But unfortunately, Eddie did not go there, and he really just wanted the Navy to owe him something. So he does this small favor for the Admiral's son, but instead things go south, and then they hung everything on him. And he didn't mean to screw Piccolo up like this, which is, a small consolation. And Piccolo says, well, one time you did save my life, so let's just call it even. And in comes our Predator, who, I don't know if you've ever seen Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, but
I haven't myself.
Great musical. A little outdated. But yes, at one point, seven brothers kidnap seven brothers kidnap six women because they want them to be their brides. Shenanigans ensue. It's a little more complicated than what I've distilled it down to, but it is a little outdated.
And Piccolo is apparently like a perfect shot.
Right?
He hits the Predator guy several times without hitting his buddy.
And here we go. Piccolo has stumbled across the people who 100% are going to shoot first and ask questions later, who thankfully do not shoot first. Which, I mean, lucky break for him. So he's captured by the Confederate Army, and they are doing a video recording of him now. They want to know who he is, so he gives them his name, that he's under the command of Captain Bridger, and now they're saying, tell us what happened. So he's claiming that Captain Bridger told him to go into the no-fly zone and do some engagement activities. And things went wrong, had to do an emergency landing. And we're just under orders from Captain Bridger. Bridger should be held accountable for everything. So over on the SeaQuest, Lewis is trying to decide or discern if this is actually legit or if this is a digital recreation. And he says, no, it's legit. Piccolo really did record this. And they say, well,
must flow.
clearly he was beaten and forced to say this. And thank you to CHFS for your donation, saying, Christian Home and Family Services here. Your $10 check you sent us was voided And to answer your question, we don't accept an unfinished model from a Star Trek show as a donation. I said this last night. We talk later. Just you got my email. We'll talk there. We don't need to bring this up on live streams. But why not the model? I got a guy who's working on it right now. It's going great. Another couple months and he should have it all finished. Professor Brainy Specs wants to know where his donation went. Everything went to CHFS. I promise. I 100%. So they're trying to figure out what's going on with this facility, and there's something strange. There's one building that has lead-lined walls because they don't want Superman to see in.
Naturally.
But there's something weird about they got these white flares. It could be anything from, temporal mechanics to gravity or who knows what. And Lewis is worried, quite legitimately so. He's like, you don't think they tried to experiment on Tony, do you? I mean, I never thought I'd say this, but his gills would make a fascinating case study. So apparently this was a UEO-led experiment where they took human guinea pigs and put gills on them. Which I guess what happened is they thought it was so amazing that Captain Nemo did this to his daughter, I believe it was. Tried to do it to Ford.
Heston.
Yeah.
Right.
Aboard the Nautilus, tried to do it to Ford.
Right.
Maybe you did it to Ford. I'm just saying, we haven't seen Ford with his shirt off since that episode, so he could have gills now. Super Blubberpuss wants to know, did Salta get his computer back up and running? Yes, he did. Everything is good on that end. I need to go to the post office with a receipt. I keep forgetting to do this / not having time to do this. But they busted the case at his doorstep. So I need to go and file a claim with them because we did get insurance put on it. And unfortunately, I can't get just the one little USB bezel. I'm going to have to buy a whole new case and get it shipped to him. And unfortunately, Lewis is spot on. They've brought in a doctor who puts on some latex gloves and starts poking at his gills. And they want to know how he got them, how do they work, and do they ever hurt? And Piccolo goes, I wish I didn't have them. They work exactly like the real things, and they only hurt when someone goes shoving their hand around inside them. Professor's saying I chased John away. Where? I see him.
I'm back. Never fear.
I can't tell, but I'm pretty sure that this guy is maybe a little sleazy.
Oh, he's probably a Kurogan. They're easy to spot.
Maybe that's me being racist, but we got this guy. He has slick backed hair, kind of looks like a greaser. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into this. Maybe he's an outstanding individual. And there's those monkeys again. Not these four. These four are great. Like, you can hear monkey calls.
I was about to say, wow, Matthew. Just ramping up the racism again.
No. Ford is not Larry Elder, and I'm not a random lady throwing eggs in a gorilla mask. No, we have our crack assault team of Ford, Jim, Ortiz and Henderson.
It took you the whole season. I think you finally figured out her name.
Brody's his last name. I can never remember Jim's last name.
Yes. If it helps you remember, it's named after Roy Scheider's character in Jaws.
You'd like to think that would help me, wouldn't you? It does not.
I should figure that. For everyone except Matthew, maybe that'll help you.
Now, honestly, I get the inclusion of everyone here except Henderson, who, when she was introduced to the show, she wasn't a comms officer. She was like almost a comms officer. She wanted to be a comms officer. Like, that would have been a promotion for her. What was her official position? Like,
she's supposed to be the helmsman.
That's it. I wanted to say that, but I don't remember ever seeing her at the helm.
Yeah, not a whole lot.
So her inclusion in this team, while being very inclusive, I mean, they have an extremely diverse team when you stop to think about it. You got a white guy, a black guy, a Hispanic guy, and I'm assuming a white girl. She could be something else. I'm pretty bad at differentiating between white and other things, to be honest. So this guy is trying to lead them out of there. He's talking about there's a spirit who took away most of the people in his village, and he just doesn't want to die. So he's like, I'm going to stay with you. It's safer for you. Well, it's safer for me. So he's trying to lead them away from the danger. And they're like, well, wait. You're taking us the wrong way. We want the military base. He goes, no. It's much safer with me. Come with me. And, they're kind of conflicted because they want to go the opposite way that he's going. But Ortiz like, we can't leave this guy. And Ford points out, he lives here. We're not exactly abandoning him. This is his home. But maybe Ford shouldn't have been quite so dismissive. Robert is saying, being prejudiced against people that put a lot of grease in their hair, go figure. The Outsiders was a great movie. I've never seen the movie. It was an excellent novel, though. Did I say Gollum, Ervik? I wouldn't be surprised if I said Gollum. Now, this poor guy, look at him. Hands up, don't shoot. And everyone's just unloading into him. He tries to wave at them, actually. He tries to wave, and then they open fire on this guy. And he stands there, hands up, I'm not doing anything. But they're not hearing any of it. They unload on him, and it does nothing. In fact, it maybe just makes him stronger.
Well, they were talking about people who shoot first and ask questions later. Turns out he was talking about the UEO.
Right? So they report back in with Daddy Bridger, and he's like, he was invisible? What? They go, yeah, and it seemed like he was just absorbing all the energy blasts, which, I mean, you would think one of them might have a physical projectile weapon, but it's all laser based, so he was able to absorb all the radiation energy. I guess that's what a laser might hit you with.
I guess so.
Oh, Ervik was saying the guy leading him into the woods was the Gollum-like character. Yeah. Pretty much. But the spider got him in this rendition. Meanwhile, back with Piccolo. He's about to discover that they just don't make jail cells the way they used to. And he's able to just, with one finger, gently break away the plaster. Or, I mean, maybe it's mud? But that doesn't seem right. Surely surely a military base is designed with something a little bit better than like an adobe hut, which really wouldn't work in a rainforest.
I'm thinking they made the mistake of hiring a Kurogan contractor to build their military base.
You know how government work goes. It's always the lowest bidder.
There you go.
I always wonder about these high-tech intrusion devices. So you know, you got your laser torch, which they use to cut out a hole to sneak through this gate. And you would think that the light generated by that and the sound of it, you know, melting the metal would be a much more obvious sign that you're breaking and entering than just some bolt cutters, you know, slowly working around. But it looks good.
Yes, bolt cutters are boring.
Yes, I mean,
and they're totally 2017.
It's kind of like in Star Trek, you know, they're like, our shields are at 50%, and then you see the you know, the next phaser shot hits and like there's an explosion on the outside of the ship. Like DS9 was real bad about that. I was watching Sacrifice of Angels and they're like, oh no, our shields are at 70%, and you know, the next fire with explosions everywhere on the ship, people being rocked back and forth, conduits just going ballistic. And like, I think your shields are gone if your ship is exploding like this. I don't think someone can read the readout.
That's what they'd like you to think.
It just looks so much more impressive. It wouldn't look cool if like a photon torpedo went as it hit his shield.
Yeah.
Hey, Trek Reviewer, how you doing today? Now they're doing a great job infiltrating this place, and he doesn't use a stone to distract this guard. He knocks on the wall, which makes kind of a metallic clang on the cement wall, but it is enough to bring the guard over to investigate. I mean, props to the guard. He actually is like, wait a minute, I heard something. I'm not going to pretend I didn't hear something. I'm going to go investigate this. But unfortunately for him, you remember that Brody, in the first episode of the season, we found out that he led a team, like a Navy SEAL type team, was the first one on to land in. It was some infiltration thing. But Piccolo managed to pick his way. Piccolo picked his way straight through this wall, which, wow. That was a throw some rebar in there or something. In fact, that's why you need rebar. That's the whole point. Reinforce it. But they messed up. They're all captured now, and the Confederate guy, he's like, you know, you had no right to send in this team, and Bridger's acting like he did no wrong. He sent a Navy SEAL-like team into another nation's sovereign territory to forcibly extract his crewmen. I mean, Bridger is in the wrong. Just because I like Piccolo and I like our team doesn't mean we get to turn a blind eye to the fact that they messed up. And now Bridger is threatening them. He's saying, well, you know what? I'm going to recommend that the UAO does daily on-site inspections on your facility to make sure that you're not breaking any UAO guidelines. And the guy goes, well, fine. I don't think we want to be part of the UAO anymore. Which way to go, Bridger?
That wasn't his finest diplomatic moment.
I mean, maybe this is the real reason that he leaves SeaQuest. He lost that perspective. Remember, Bridger was supposed to be the perfect balance between the scientists and the military, and clearly he's gone too military. He's getting too trigger happy.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas saying, breaking news, the U.S. always sends special ops into other countries. True, and it's wrong. I mean, if we're not at war with someone, and none of this whole, oh, we're just going in to do a little policing. No, if we're not at active war with someone, we have no business being in another country.
Yes, I did see that printer, Professor. Very nice.
Even then, we might not belong in the country. I mean, America hasn't always gone to war for the best reasons. So Piccolo thinks he's been captured again as he sneaks into this room and bumps into this extremely military-looking individual. But it turns out it's nothing. They're not responding. Thomas Paz is saying, good idea. We should leave kidnapped Americans with their captors. Well, we should certainly explore other options before immediately sending in the Navy SEALs. Especially when our person isn't just like some random kidnapped individual. When it's someone who broke their airspace. It was a military flight. A military flight broke their airspace. They had no right being there. Like, yeah, you're going to have to do some negotiating before you just send in the Navy SEALs. So here we figure out what's going on with the Predator in the forest. It turns out this is Project Scarab. It's some sort of robot that is able to absorb the radiation from the air and make itself stronger, has active camouflage, but these Scarab units have had their chip removed because the prototype has gone haywire. And it's funny, they make a line like, oh, he's a prototype, and Dagwood goes, Dagwood's prototype? And it was like, well, a different prototype. So here we hear Pony Boy. And he's talking about how he wants to figure out how this one random guy was able to survive in the forest when our own men don't want to go there. And we find out that it's Eddie. Eddie somehow survived. He got away from the Scarab prototype, and he was able to hide out breathing underwater this whole time. And yeah, he's definitely a bad guy. He's talking about how one of the problems with UEO is they care too much about the survival rate of their patients. And you know, we don't need to worry about that. Let's figure out what's going on with these gills so that we can, you know, reproduce it ourselves, basically. And they literally kind of do a dun 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 with the the trombones in the background. Super Blubber Puss is saying, our women that were left behind are being traded and sold for all the wrong reasons. Our press won't cover that, of course. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not a fan of that. We really messed up there. Like, there's no two ways about it. The way that we pulled out was the worst way we could have pulled out, and we've left so many people. Not only have we left people stranded, not only are bad things happening to them, our news media is actually blaming them. Like, well, we gave them ample opportunity. I mean, it wasn't their fault that the U.S. pulled out in the middle of the night and didn't even tell their allies. They should have known they were going to do that. And Ortiz is saying, you know, he's doing the translation of the guards speaking out there, and Ortiz reveals that they want the guards want them to escape, And the reason they want them to escape is so that they can shoot them while they try to escape. And yeah, Super, it is because Biden is blaming them. The news media has definitely increasingly become just a single movement of a particular political party. I mean, when you literally have one of the main newsroom, like the president of the newsroom, after Biden got elected, say, we did it. I don't think you can claim that they're not biased anymore. Like, you can't even claim that they're not being a state press at that point. Like, just pretending like they're a private industry when all they do is specifically get a single party elected. No, you're just state press at that point. But good news, Tony found a chip for one of the prototypes. He's gotten everyone out, and he's kind of got, I guess, the original Oculus Rift.
That's a good question, Thomas.
Yes, Thomas.
Yes, that's good.
Yeah, and sorry, John, I didn't mean to cut you off like that.
That's fine.
But yes, so I do plan on doing a review of season 2 like we did after season 1. And Super Blubber Puss is saying that's why we'll never have fair elections again. I don't know if I'd go that far. I mean, they're doing a recall election in California right now. That's definitely one of the most fair and secure elections that's ever been held. It's not like people have shown up to vote and been told that they've already voted. And it's not like that's happening predominantly / only to Republican people. I mean, that'd be crazy talk.
And speaking of crazy talk, Piccolo's going to town with his new toy.
Which it's interesting. I guess that's the point. Piccolo didn't find a chip. The chip lets the Scarab units operate independently or autonomously. He found the control interface board so that he can manually control one of the Scarab units. Thomas, speaking of crazy talk, so Matthew is speaking. Yeah. But thankfully, Piccolo has saved the day. The scummy-looking guy is being carried away by presumably the Confederate people, but those who weren't just corrupt. And the situation is contained. The scarabs in the hold have been broken down so that no one can use it. And Ford wants to know what they're going to do with the tech that the little chip that he just took out. And the secretary guy over here says, we're going to research it, figure out how it works, and then we're going to bury it under so much red tape that no one can figure out how to use it for years to come. It's just too dangerous. Robert Rose Jr. is saying, I'm subscribed to Mark Dice's YouTube channel, kept abreast of all that stuff. I'm not familiar with Mark Dice. And Eddie's saying, you're not going to punish me again, are you? And Piccolo goes, well, why? What have you done? And Eddie says, well, I owe you one now. And Piccolo, he says, we owe a lot of people one. And Eddie wants to reform. He wants to improve himself and actually, get on the right path. The same way that Piccolo's done. And the senator is saying, I'm afraid there's just not a whole lot I can do for you or for your friend. We're thankful for what he's done to expose this, but the way he got here was not okay. And Piccolo says, well, what about the way he got in the slammer in the first place? And the senator goes, what do you mean? And Piccolo goes, well, I'm just saying that sometimes there's powerful people who do things, and sometimes other people get in trouble for it. And maybe someone wants to reconsider the circumstances that led him there. Just thought I'd talk about it. So apparently this senator is well aware that this admiral's son did something inappropriate, and that Eddie is not solely responsible. And the senator goes, well, wait, you believe me? And the answer should be no, but Piccolo says, yeah, I do. So he's like, I'll try and make sure he gets the help he needs. So Eddie's gotten permission to call up his friend Piccolo, but he's not there. He's gone missing. And Lewis says, they have the chip, but I kind of made a copy of it before they ran off with it. Unfortunately, the prototype, it keeps breaking down. I can't get the suit to say cloaked. And then all of a sudden here's the almost nudity scene, Thomas.
No, yeah, that's what you're talking about.
This is what I was talking about. That here we are once again in the ladies' shower, and Piccolo took the suit and is doing what many men would do with the power of invisibility and getting caught. The suit goes down. He's like, well, look at the time. I need to go. And all the ladies put on towels and say, get him, and tackle him. Managed to rob him of his clothes and sent him running into the hall. So, gaggle of almost nudity. And Dagwood gives a I'm sure misunderstanding the situation completely.
Say, this looks like a fun game.
So here we have Ford telling us about the lionfish, one of the most deadly poisonous creatures in the sea with its poisonous spines, but lots of people like to keep them in their saltwater aquariums for some reason. I don't know why. Personally, I don't want to keep things that could kill me in my home. Well, John, how did you like this week's episode?
Oh, I think Aravik summed it up pretty well. He said the episode was good despite the lack of Darwin. That's the only real drawback I see to the episode.
It was a good episode. I enjoyed it a lot too. The professor saying wait until we finally get to Babylon 5 in 2032. Well, someone's optimistic. I was banking on 2040. What time did I actually guess for the end of... What was it, by the end of the year, did I say? Or was I saying by October?
Yeah, end of the year, I think, or something like that.
Which I think we're still pretty on track for that. We're down to the last 14 episodes. Just another 3 months. No, that's not going to be the end of the year. It's going to be January. It's going to be January.
At least.
Close. We're getting close. I'm going to be close to my prediction. Well, I don't think anyone would be too surprised to know that my prediction I made last week was not right at all. I'm pretty sure I didn't really have a prediction for last week. I think I forced myself to say something based on the episode title Blindsided of someone gets a surprise they're not expecting, which I said it would be Bridger. So definitely wrong. Definitely completely wrong on that.
Yep.
I guess you could say that Piccolo was blindsided by Eddie showing up, but it...
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know. I don't know about that. But as far as the episode goes, I enjoyed it. I liked the fact it was a Piccolo-centric episode. I think that this is really something that modern sci-fi misses out on. Taking the time to focus on your characters. Discovery is particularly egregious about this, where every episode it is the I blocked her name. I want to say Mariner, and that's not it at all. That is so not it at all. Which makes me want to say Beckett, but that's even further from the truth. Beckett is Castle, a procedural show starring some other guy.
It's also Mariner's first name.
It is also Mariner's first name, which is, yeah, it's definitely not that. I can get there in a minute. I can see her hair.
Just wait to see how long it takes you.
I can imagine her raspy whisper, "God, she has to talk like this in every episode," and him just so emotional, crying all the time.
I know she's no Leonard Nimoy, but I figured you can come up with a name eventually.
I can't. It's flown. It's totally gone. I have so fully blocked it. Michael Burnham. There we go.
Yeah.
There we go. So yeah, Discovery, especially egregious about this. Every episode focuses on Burnham, and the series suffers for that. I've been watching season 6 of Deep Space Nine recently, and the way they did it is exactly how they should have done the last season of Discovery, where, recall, at the end of season 5 of Deep Space Nine, you had the Federation driven away from Deep Space Nine, and the Dominion took it over. And then you split the episodes between focusing on the events going on with the Defiant and Cisco and Julie and all of them, and then you'd have other episodes focusing on what was going on with Odo and Kira and Rom over on Deep Space Nine. And you'd actually, each episode, you'd kind of be focusing on this particular person, that particular person, maybe the events in general, but everyone was given their due attention. And so an episode like this, that focuses on Piccolo, this goofball character, which, we got several Piccolo episodes this season. We got the one with his mom. We got this one. Those are my 2 examples. Maybe it's just 2.
Yeah, I think those are the 2 where he had the biggest role. A lot of good, subplots as well.
Yeah, everyone has just gotten some really, really good episodes this season, except maybe Bridger. I'm not sure if we've had any really Bridger-centric episodes.
Yeah, not a whole lot. I mean, probably the closest was back at the beginning of the season, I think. Where was the episode where he had everybody come over to his house? He had this cookout.
Yeah, that was that like episode 2? Yeah,
I think so.
I remember getting to the end of it and going, that makes no sense. We should have had this at the end of the season, where people are, we've really had the time to develop the relationship with the new crew, and it makes it more poignant that what's her face, B'Elanna Troy, is thinking about leaving instead of the very first episode with her. A 2-parter, but still.
But yeah, the problem with a lot of these new shows, not only is they're focused on a badly written character like Michael Burnham, but also that the seasons are so short that they don't have time to develop these other characters, even if they wanted to.
Yeah.
The old season of Star Trek had like 26 episodes. Now they have what 10 or 12?
Oh, yeah, something egregious like that. I mean, the most we got in Discovery is you had a portion of an episode devoted to the character that caused the burn. And you had an episode that focused on the they character, who was like, I've never felt like a her. I've always felt like a they. And then you had that cringe scene between the doctor and the chief engineer where they kept saying, well, I'm so proud of them. They did such a good job. And you get to the end of the scene, you're like, oh, they're talking about one person. I thought they were talking about a team. No, they're just trying to do this really weird pronoun thing. And it's like, not every pronoun makes sense. Maybe you need to think some more about the pronoun you're trying to go for.
Yeah, I spent more time developing the pronouns than developing the characters in the show.
Yeah. Salty wants to know, who is Karen Bennett and why did she super chat me? What did she super chat you, Salty? Because I don't know. I am very, very interested to know what that super chat said. And yeah, Super, that show is pure garbage. It is.
Completely agree.
The point, however, is that this show, I love the fact that they took an episode to focus on a character that you would think is just kind of this zany goofball character, and then make it a really well done show. Like everyone, except Bridger. Bridger acted in kind of an abnormal manner, I would say.
So usually he'd be more diplomatic than that.
Yeah.
By the way, the professor said a few minutes ago, if you don't skip any more weeks, it's a big if, you can just make it by the end of the year.
That is a giant if there.
Indeed.
And speaking of that, Salty, as long as you're here, I need to actually let you know about this Friday, my friend.
Uh-oh.
It has been brought to my attention that it is my brother-in-law's 40th birthday this weekend, and we're heading down to somewhere near Galveston, I believe, and I will be without access to anything. So I will not be here on Friday. My apologies.
Excuses.
But I was thinking that maybe after that, we could kind of do 6 Fridays in a row to watch all of the Star Trek movies, such that they're more or less fresh in my mind by the time we get to the end of it. Instead of like taking 3 months to get through all 6. I think that's what it would work out to. Every other week would be 12 weeks. 11 if you're being generous and not counting the first week. So yeah, I mean, yeah. So let me know if that works with you. If you want to, if it doesn't work with you and you need to do alternate so that you can still do Jep Nerdy, totally understand. I definitely don't want to cut that off.
He just threw all my Jeopardy questions out the window with his new plan here.
Yeah, I keep forgetting that Michael does things on the alternate Friday. For some reason, I think that Michael just sits there so sad that I'm not able to do anything. And he's just sitting in his living room with his candles and a little tear going down his cheek that Matthew snubs him on Friday. So, yeah, maybe I should stop being a jerk and stop trying to preempt other people.
Oh, that could be true, Thomas.
Well, what's that? Am I worried Salty is going to figure out how much better John is? It's a legit concern of mine, yes. Well, beyond...
You're listening, Salty, that's how you get him to show up every week. You threaten to replace him.
Oh, gosh. Beyond Bridger being a little abnormal, a little less diplomatic, was there anything in this episode that made no sense to you? And obviously the lack of Darwin, but beyond that.
Yeah, that's just the lack of Darwin was the main thing. I thought everything else was fine. I mean, you mentioned earlier that sending Henderson on the team didn't make a whole lot of sense, but yeah, that's the kind of thing they do.
Yeah, Thomas, I wonder if I've given him an aneurysm. See, that's the thing. That's the reason I picked brain bullets as my superpower. Remember that conversation forever long ago? It's because I know me just talking normally gets people halfway to an aneurysm anyway. So I figure I might as well have a superpower that does the other half. And there's Salty. Yes, he's appropriately upset. But to answer your question, I don't know who Karen Bennett is. I have no family members named Karen. Nor do I have any family members that act like a Karen.
That's just you.
Yeah, but there's another name for guy Karens. I forget what you call them, but they have something clever. Salty's saying, yeah, I got a brain bullet from you ignoring my last comment when I answered you telling you what Karen said. I did read that, though. Or did I read that in my mind if I didn't read it out loud. I might have just said... Salty said, I never saw your show, but I feel like you resonate with me, is what she said. Which I'm pretty sure I didn't say that out loud. Wow.
No, I don't think you did.
Wow. Thomas saying, am I sure you didn't remember someone's birthday in your family?
It's true.
Which one? I don't remember not remembering a family member's birthday.
The guy on Friday.
What?
The guy you're going to see on Friday, and that's why you're not going to be doing the movie.
Well, to be fair, I forgot that this... Okay, there's no fair. Yes, I forgot his birthday. I did. I did. And I also forgot that we were doing something extremely special for his birthday that we've been planning for months and going to do this big trip out of town. So, I mean, there was a lot of forgetting.
So if you're watching, Amy, this is why you're asking us last night.
And see, no one hates me. It's just I definitely aggravate people a lot with this memory of mine.
Well, yes, that'd be a better description.
Bradley's saying YouTube changed how the chat works on the phone app. It's just like the Twitch one now. What? Only showing up when you join? Which, okay, so I noticed on Michael's stream, I joined Michael's midway through, and there was a long chat history. And I'm not sure why. Michael, do you have... Is it because you have like a certain number of subs and actually stream consistently? Unlike me, who's like, I'm going to stream randomly now. Or is there a setting that you have to go in and ask them to do it? So and maybe it was just I had shown up and then I had to leave and then I came back later. And by showing up the first time, it keeps it queued? I don't know. I just noticed that I did join your stream at one point over on Twitch, and it actually was all there. And Bradley, if that's legit how the YouTube app is doing it on the phone, I do not understand why YouTube does this. Like, it makes no sense to me why YouTube removes features. Very rarely do they give us features, but they love to remove features. Like, used to, you could have polls, and no more. Used to, in the middle of your video, you could have pop-up boxes, and it'd be like, click on one of these two boxes, and you could have a choose your own adventure video. Incredibly cool. You don't have that anymore. Now you can only have the last 20 seconds of a video with one of those. Anyway, I don't need to get off on this. YouTube, they frustrate me. I don't understand them, but I don't need to go full salty on this. You never go full salty. Professor is saying that his YouTube app doesn't appear to be any different, but the history goes back a certain number of... Oh, so Super Blubber Post. Maybe. He's saying it goes back a certain number of chats. I want to say that it goes back a certain time frame. Like, it only keeps the most recent hour-ish or hour and a half. Well, I haven't done an hour and a half yet, so maybe the most recent hour. And then it starts to cycle it through.
Yes, and Thomas is mentioning that Paramount uploaded their Star Trek Day stream, but without the comments. I noticed that as well. And I referred to them as cowards in the Discord for doing so.
Yeah, that was interesting. Which
I made sure to leave a comment on their video saying that we demand the Whale Probe show.
I'm surprised that you do comments, to be honest. Like, I would have expected them to disable that.
Well, for all I know, they've turned them off by now. I don't know.
It's true.
But I did, while it was up, I did record that clip of your cousins making their hard-hitting commentary.
Is that the one where I haven't seen the show, but it really resonates with me?
That's the one.
What does that even mean? What does that even mean? Like, is she trying to say like the premise resonates with her, and she's just pulling a Matthew?
I guess it's like I like what this show stands for, even though I never bothered to watch it.
Like,
I guess
I could accept that. The idea of I haven't watched a single episode of, let's say, Babylon 5, but the premise of you have this space station and it's caught up in political intrigue really resonates with me because I love DS9. So I could see that, and I could see her just being like me, and it makes sense up here, but by the time it gets here, people are like, are you on crack? Or like my mom, I think I told you. Go on, John.
That's how we knew you were related.
I think I've told you this story before. No, I haven't. I hope my mom's not watching right now. So, you know, my mom's a widow now. And a while back ago, some friends of hers invited her out to lunch. And so she goes and she discovers that she's been set up on a blind date. And, you know, my mom, she's 68, I want to say. And this guy is in his 50s. And so at one point it comes up and he goes, well, how old are you, Carol? And she's like, 68. And like this awkward silence falls over the table as everyone suddenly realizes that she's way too old for this guy. And she's just stuck there for the rest of this blind date that she had no intention on being on. Doesn't want to be on any blind dates. Doesn't want to be on any non-blind dates, as far as I know. And so it's just so awkward. And so I made a joke that the next time I saw them, because I go to church with them, the next time I saw them, I was going to walk up and just start singing, matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match, find me a find, catch me a catch. And, you know, she's like, no, I beg you, don't do this. So the next Sunday, I send my mom a GIF from Mrs. Doubtfire, where they do that. You know, Robin Williams, he's dressed up like Mrs. Doubtfire, and he, along with the other two people, start singing that song. So I send that GIF over to my mom, and she responds back, Matt, are you drunk? And I'm like, what would make you say that, Mom? Like, I've never been drunk in my life. What, like, why would that be the first thing you go to? But, you know, it's because of this. People are like, are you drunk, Matt? Are you on crack? Oh. Maybe if I was more reasonable, people wouldn't assume this. And Bradley's saying he just updated his app. The chat is different now. That's all I know. Interesting. Professor is claiming I purposely ignore his chats. I don't. I get distracted. And yes, only Salty can go full Salty. When I try to do it, it doesn't. See, when I do it, it's like a little kid being mad and ripping up Kleenex paper. And it's like, you look ridiculous. I don't have the ability to rant in a humorous way. Like Bird and Michael can just rant hilariously. I do a rant and it's like, oh, that's the sound of one hand clapping. It's not but the sound of wind and fury. I think that's how the quote goes.
And Thomas thinks if she watched your stream, she would have you committed.
She might.
I think so.
And also, if only Matthew knew what his mom does, but we promised not to tell him her job as a Navy SEAL.
Shh.
I wouldn't be surprised. Bradley's saying it's weird that the chat is on the right side of the screen now instead of the left. That is weird. One of those why things, like what, like it. Anyway, I don't know. I don't understand anything YouTube does. Salty saying if Amy watched the stream, she would not ask us why we hate him. Okay, that's so funny too, because she was talking the other day about really wanting to come up on the stream and just like ask you guys questions, because she's like, hey Matt, does John have some kids? I'm like, yeah. He goes, well, how old are they? I'm like, It's like, what about Michael? I'm like, yeah, I know he has like 2 kids, I think. How old are they? I'm like, I don't know. We get together and we talk nerd stuff. And she's like, no, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to be like, anyone who comes up tonight, you're going to tell me about yourself because I want to know who on earth you people are. And then she finally comes up on my stream and she decides just to ask that. And I'm like, well, what about what you wanted to ask them? She goes, well, I wanted to ask them something else when I got up there. And yes, Thomas, I'm like Kirk. I know nothing about any of the people I hang out with. Kirk just knew nothing about the personal life of any of his friends.
I mean, I could have, a half brother from, Vulcan, and you would know nothing about it.
I literally wouldn't. And you should be offended, Thomas. I'm actually notoriously bad for asking people questions. Like, people will come up and be like, oh, how's work? How you doing? And I'll answer their questions and then I'll leave. And Amy's like, why didn't you ask them how their work was going? I'm like, that would have been really smart. I should have done that. And I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just really, really bad about it. I just am rude. I'm not trying to be rude, but I am. That's what it comes down to.
Well, if Avian wants to come on your stream again, I promise we won't talk about how long the Enterprise is.
I make no promises about that. Salty and Robert both want to see me drunk. They think it would be hilarious seeing me drunk. I disagree. I've definitely been to the point where I'm like, I shouldn't go driving right now. I shouldn't operate heavy machinery. But I never want to be in a position where I couldn't make good choices because we all know I'm already handicapped in that area.
Yeah, it's had a hard enough time as it is.
And that's right, Salty. He's not trying to be rude. Nomad.
Nomad.
Yeah, Thomas, Matthew probably can't remember Jeff visiting him on Friday. Yeah, it's drawing a blank here, Thomas. Drawing a blank. Bradley, Matthew knows I could walk to his house in a few hours if he wanted to. It's true. It's true. And hopefully, Bradley, you come to one of these events here in the Metroplex area where I can actually say hi to you in person, like Retropalooza coming up sometime in October. Some retro gaming stuff. I plan on being there on Sunday at some point. So, way off topic here, but I mean,
that's what we expect around here.
Yeah. Oh, Thomas, I missed that reference completely. Thomas is saying that I tried to donate Nomad instead of money, that thing he biked for. They did a super chat for him. I thought you were talking about Chim's Enterprise D model. His amazing Eagle Moss one, which I'm not sure if you guys have been watching that, but actually one of the people who resell that model actually hung out on the chat, or in the chat on one of his streams, and was giving him lots of great pointers like, hey, you have this light flashing, it's supposed to be solid, you just need to switch some LED wires around. You need to be careful about assembling this particular spot, which I thought was really cool that this guy just so happened to find Cinnabon Bunny stream and like, hey, I'll help you out because this is an intense kit that you've got. Super is wondering if I live in Texas. Yeah, I live in the DFW area, Dallas Fort Worth. What do I think about all the Democrats moving from California? As long as they don't bring their failed policies with them, I don't mind. The thing that annoys me is the ones who come here and then get mad that we're not doing all the really bad stuff that has left them bankrupt and so bad for business. Hopefully they're coming here because they realize that they want the freedoms that we have here in Texas that they don't have in California. Like what a weird sentence is that? The fact that someone living in America is desiring freedom because they don't have it the way that we have it in different states. Like that's crazy to me. And Texas is hardly the bastion of freedom people think it is. There's a lot of stuff where it's like I can't believe that we're not allowed to do this. Thomas saying salty wants salt now, not crap. Okay.
I'm sure you're ignoring the conversation going on in the chat, so that's why that doesn't make sense to you.
Probably. Yes, that's true, Thomas. Make sure you punch
Right,
Matthew
Thomas.
Bradley, and just make sure you get on camera if you do it. And wait, I didn't say punch. I said slap. I said slap. Let's not.
That reminds me, we forgot to ask Amy to slap you last night when she was on the stream. They
That's
get
true.
That next time.
True. Oh gosh. Final thoughts here, John, about the episode, about anything else.
There's an exciting season finale coming up next week, so you wouldn't want to miss that.
And that's true. Next week is going to be season 2, episode 21, which is the previous one. Splashdown. So predictions for it. It's going to involve space and a space a spacecraft splashing down the ocean and them having to find it. Maybe aliens are back. Yeah, let's say aliens are back. And we're trying to find the alien spaceship that has landed somewhere in the ocean. There we go. That's my prediction for next week. And yes, Michael, I deserve that one. Really looking forward to TMP on Friday night. Oh, wait.
Wait.
I'm sorry, man. I wish I had remembered sooner. And
You're still going to have to watch TMP eventually.
It's true. It's true. Hit me up on Skype, Salty. Let's see what we can do about this. Thomas is saying, kick Matthew below the belt. He said it. I said no such thing. I didn't. Professor is saying, I am so far off, probably. Not sure what about specifically, but I accept it.
Pretty much everything, I think.
I'll say it's just in general principle of life. Yes. Just far off. Bradley's saying it would be so funny. He meets me, I go to shake your hand, and he just slaps the crap out of me. As long as it's recorded. If it's not recorded, did it even happen? And yes, Thomas, today was the episode where we watched them hijack and crash an airplane, but at least it wasn't into a building. That would have been... I might have delayed it. I think if it had been into a building, that would have just been too insensitive for me. I would have been like, guys, I'm sorry. We're not watching this week.
Of course, as we said earlier, this wouldn't have been an issue if Matthew hadn't skipped all those weeks of SeaQuest.
It's true. If I had just kept the schedule... Thomas wants to know, am I sure that I never said I give anyone permission to... Yes, I'm positive I've never said those last 4 words. Ha! Ha, Thomas! Nice try. No, anyone who meets me... Anyone who comes to the Dallas-Fort Worth area and meets me in person, I get permission for them to record them slapping me in the face. There you go. That's permission. In fact, I think it'd be hilarious to start having a string of super chat rewards of me being slapped in the face. I think that'd be hilarious.
Yes,
I do.
It'd be very effective fundraising, I think.
I do. I think it'd be great. Salty's saying heading to his car right now. Hey man, you get here noon tomorrow. Actually, assuming you went at a really good pace, it'd be more like 2 to 3, I think, from where you are. So hey man, 2 to 3. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Assuming you can drive through the night.
And you better be streaming when he does that.
Yeah, I would 100% stream it. I so would. But guys, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Thanks for enduring my rants. Thanks for making this a fun stream. I really do appreciate you guys being with us and just the fun banter we have. I mean, look, at the end of the day, we give me crap. As Amy says this, she's like, Matt, they don't just give you crap. You invite them to give you crap. And it's true. It's true. As always, my beloved is correct in life. But it's so much fun. It is so much fun. The good nature ripping that goes on here, the sci-fi talk we do. I love having it each and every week with you guys. So that's right, Salty. I'm Mary Pippins, y'all. So thanks for hanging out with us. We will be back next week for the last episode of season 2. Just 14 episodes left, and then we're going to be looking into that other show. Was it San Antonio 6? I think is the name of it. Something like that. I don't know. So look forward to that, and we'll see you next week.
Good night.
Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please be sure to hit that like button and share it with your friends. If you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you will. And be sure to hit that bell icon to be notified of all the updates I do on this channel. If you want to support the work I'm doing here, then I hope you'll consider becoming one of my Patreons, where you'll get early access to all kinds of videos. And until the next time, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May he cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Amen.